Hello. I'm excited for this episode because let's talk about karmic contracts, voiding energetic agreements, and clearing out our energetic field so that we're not bound to or bound by anyone. So, having been someone that has had many karmic contracts, many karmic relationships, let's discuss first what they are so we know that we're all on the same page. It's this relationship that feels fated, like destiny, meeting someone that feels like they complete you. Remember that this also very much overlaps with the twin flame, which we can talk about too. But if you guys had those relationships where you just feel like you recognize them from somewhere and that you instantly attach to them, but that's the dangerous part, that you become emotionally invested and enmeshed with them right away. You feel like they provide oxygen to you, like you need them, like they're saving you from something. And I think that is the key, that you feel like they're saving you from a part of yourself that you are not yet willing to look at. The deeper parts of yourself that you have rejected, the parts of yourself that you think are unlikable, unlovable, unworthy of being loved by people, the parts of yourselves that you have just hid away, and that you feel that these parts of you can be rescued with this person, that you can then leap into a new version of your life with them, that they'll save you. Of course, it's all an illusion, but it's the perfect illusion. And really, this reality is the perfect illusion, isn't it? Because what are we doing here? We're evolving our soul. We're having experiences that we could not have in the energetic realm that exist in contrast so that we can learn, grow, evolve into the potential of who we really are. This is our playground. This is our school. So that then these relationships are meant for us to attach to. They're meant for us to be triggered by. They're meant to seem all shiny and glittery at first, because the experience that we're having is falling into a portal, meeting ourselves more deeply, understanding our patterns better, getting to know our soul's blueprint, so that meeting this person was never by accident. It was always purposeful. But now if we're going to talk about voiding this type of energetic agreement, this painful energetic agreement, we have to then discuss in the ways in which we do that through mirror work, understanding ourselves better, understanding the lesson that this taught us, right? So that we can then get to the bottom of that connection and void the energetic agreement. That these relationships, they trigger our deepest wounds, the parts of ourselves that feel like we're not worthy, like we're not good enough, in order for us to evolve. And that even if you did end the relationship with this person and they're no longer in your life, we oftentimes have such a hard time detaching from that person. Because again, my belief is that we still haven't gotten to the bottom of why they were in our life, that we're keeping the energetic agreement attached because we are still living out this karmic experience with them, even if they're not physically in our reality. So then we have to actually validate ourselves for a minute here and realize that we're not crazy for not being able to get over somebody. We're not too sensitive. It's that we are having a soul level lesson in a physical body with another physical body, and that we are being asked by our higher self to continue to search for those lessons. Otherwise, we just repeat the whole experience over again with somebody new. So then when we get to the bottom of what that person was trying to show us, what they were teaching us, maybe it was discernment. Maybe it was breaking a pattern that we inherited from our father, from our mother. It was an ancestral pattern that we've been handed down for hundreds of years. Maybe it was someone that would push us into finally loving ourselves, to finally accepting ourselves. Maybe it was so that we could simply choose ourselves over the approval of somebody else, that we're no longer chasing validation from another, but that we're learning to give it to ourselves. Maybe it's so that we could finally grow up and realize that we are the creator of our own life, that we don't need a rich man, we're the rich man. That we don't need someone to take care of us. We just need to learn how to take care of ourselves. That doesn't mean that you don't have to be taken care of by somebody. Of course, it feels great to be taken care of. But ultimately realizing That in this lifetime, maybe that archetype of your soul's imprint was to finally stand up for yourself, was to finally make moves and decisions for yourself, no longer waiting for someone to come in and rescue you. So again, these are all different archetypes that relationship could have been about, but it always comes back to choosing yourself. It's always a variation of choosing yourself, self-acceptance, self-love, embodiment, right? Living your truth, speaking your truth, being authentic. And that then the nature of these relationships change because you're no longer scared to lose a connection, because you realize that the connection that you have always been longing for has been with yourself. All of these people in the external reality, they were always mirroring back to you a piece of yourself. A piece of yourself that maybe was not actualized yet, and that could have been the purpose of that relationship. That they showed something to you within themselves that you had not yet activated yet. But that you saw it, you loved it, you wanted it, because you knew it was you. At the soul level, you recognize that person, you recognize that quality in them that you so loved, knowing that it was your time to awaken that. That confidence, that self-assurance, that has always been a part of you. And whenever you have been drawn to that in another person, the reasoning behind it is so that you could bring that out, okay? But the second most crucial part of breaking that energetic agreement, avoiding the energetic contract, is forgiveness. And the concept of forgiveness has become so skewed in our world, thinking that, well, if I forgive somebody, it means that I'm letting them off the hook. It means that they can just do it to me again. It means that they can do it to somebody else again. But that's not what it means. True forgiveness voids an energetic agreement, because we understand the role that they played for us. So it doesn't mean that we're inviting them back into our lives. It doesn't mean that they're staying in our lives. But it means that energetically, we understand what they were showing us. That if they were an aggressive person, a coercive, manipulative person, they were teaching us boundaries. They were teaching us how to stand up for ourselves, how to choose ourselves again, so that we stop betraying ourselves in favor of a connection with somebody else. That we finally stand in our own power, in our true authentic voice, and that we're not afraid to lose a connection because we always have ourselves. So that the forgiveness piece is twofold. We forgive ourselves. We forgive ourselves for enacting the relationship, for playing into it, for allowing them to, let's say, take advantage of us. We forgive ourselves for opening the door up to them again and again and again when they didn't deserve to have the door reopened again. We say, that's okay. I understand why I did that now, and I forgive myself for my past mistakes. I forgive myself for what I did because I didn't know any better. Because we realize that we have to go through the physical experience. We have to be human. And that when we go through the experience, we learn and we can make a course correction then. But at that time, we didn't know any better. And that second part of the forgiveness practice is forgiving them. It's forgiving them for the role they played as the perpetrator. It's letting them go. It's saying, I understand the role that you played for me. I appreciate that role that you played for me. And I now let you go with love and forgiveness. I understand that we are more than just these human selves. That at the grander scheme of this all, I see how you awakened me, how you truly set me free. And so for that, I don't hold on to anger for you anymore. And that's the thing, that when we hold on to anger, when we say, I can't believe that they did that. How could they do that? How could they be such a horrible person? Or even anger for ourselves. How could I do that? How could I let that happen? We are recycling the thoughts that then create the emotion, that then create the energy and keep that energetic tie with them. So that even if we had severed that energetic connection, we're then rebuilding it again with them. We're recreating new chords by reactivating those thought loops. That's rumination, because an emotion only lasts for about 90 seconds. But if it goes on any longer, that's because our thoughts have picked it up and are recreating it for another 90 seconds, another 90 seconds. God, an entire lifetime. But that the forgiveness practice voids the energetic agreement again, because we understand. So that's why the forgiveness is such a crucial step. because without it, we're just going to recreate the energetic chords again. That's why learning a lesson is so crucial, because it means we have the wherewithal, the perspective to understand what that experience showed us, that we can now move forward in this next chapter of our lives as a different person, that we can now embody this next version of ourselves by having gone through that experience. Because ultimately, words don't teach, only life experience teaches us. Think back to all the times that you've had a difficult relationship, a difficult circumstance. Think of how that changed you. If you had not gone through that experience, you would not be where you are today. So that then we really do see that this experience that we're all having on planet Earth, it's a classroom, it's a playground, whatever you want to call it. We're each uniquely creating our reality perfectly for what we need at that time. That God comes in and gives us these lessons of discernment, these hardships, and that each time we go through one of those experiences, it is a tactical maneuver to eliminate a limiting part of ourselves, a wounded part of ourselves. But that if we knew it in the first place, we wouldn't go through it. We wouldn't go through with it because we don't willingly choose pain, but our soul does. Our soul chooses painful experiences for us to go through, knowing what we will become on the other side, knowing the wisdom that we will pick up, knowing the character development that that experience warrants. So again, that perspective shift can truly move you into the place of seeing the lesson. And it's okay if you don't understand the lesson at first, whether it was discernment, self-love, releasing shame, stepping into an unrealized version of yourself. It can take time. Meditation practices, journaling exercises. I have a whole dang course on this. But ultimately, when you get to that point where you really understand it for what it was, when you can then forgive them for what they did, you're free. You have voided the energetic agreement. The contract is done because you have completed what it set out to do. So there's no need to go back to them. There's no need to recreate that experience with another person because you are now embodying that lesson. So then, okay, you might still see that pattern reappear in somebody new. You might have that ex come back to you if you haven't blocked them. But this time you're different. Think about it. It doesn't trigger you in the same way. It doesn't activate those parts of yourself anymore. You don't feel shame, embarrassment, the shrinking. You don't feel guilt or unworthiness. You don't even feel anger. You just realize, you know what? I did that. I lived that experience. I learned that. I'm done with this. I don't need to do it again. The exhausting part is when we victimize ourselves, when we say, why me? How could I go through that experience again? To not understand what it was all for. The exhausting part is blaming the other person and saying, how could they do this? How could they do that? But when you do that, you're only attacking the mirror because every person is just a reflection of an inner part of ourselves. Every person that we bring into our reality is scripted from the higher level. So that these karmics, they come in knowing that they are going to play our perpetrator. They come in to trigger us. It's all on purpose. But look at how it awakens us. Look at the glow up that people go through when they have a really traumatic breakup. Suddenly they realize that they have to listen to their own inner guidance. They move across the country. They pick up a new job. They make all these new friends. Do you see how when we are in a painful circumstance, when we go through an immense loss, when that part of ourself starts to dissolve the foothold that our ego has, we become more open and receptive to the true part of ourselves, to our soul essence that is always whispering us, this is who you are. This is what you are meant to be doing. This is where you're going now. But it's in nudges. It's in inspiration. It's in divinely aligned conversation, even with a stranger. And that then the best part of this, that when you void the energetic agreement, when you see it for what it was all for, then you realize that your purpose in life was always correlated to that wounding that that relationship triggered. That if you had always had a fear of being seen, aka a fear of truly being your authentic self, fearful of how other people would perceive you, and that they might reject you if they saw who you really were, then that core wound is letting you step into a version of yourself where your purpose is to be seen for who you really are. That maybe you become a speaker, you become a content creator. Maybe you take on a leadership role in your life, whatever that looks like. That you stand up for yourself in your true, authentic expression. You're no longer blocking your own voice. And that then, in that purpose, you set other people up to free themselves too. They can then follow suit. They see that you do it, and they realize it's safe for them to do it too. Maybe your core wound was shame. These parts of yourself that you were embarrassed by, that you didn't want anybody else to see, that you were shrinking yourself, hiding your body, hiding your personality, hiding your true interests. And that when you were triggered in that shame wound, you then stepped into your embodiment, the fullness of who you are, the presence, the owning your identity. And again, how might that show up in your life? Maybe that's a career change where, again, you truly own who you are. You own your voice. You own your presence. You own your body, you see. And then again, by doing that, you show others that it's safe to do the same thing. So that all of these experiences have a purpose, and they awaken us to who we really are, to what our purpose here really is. And the best part is, by doing that, we inspire others to do the same thing. That they feel safe to step out into the spotlight. They feel safe to listen to their truth. And when more and more people start doing that, we all start coming alive. This is what we mean when we talk about grid workers. That people who are embodying the light, who are waking up to their soul's essence, are scattered all around the globe. Because they are meant to awaken that area of the planet that they live in. They are meant to assist their community in becoming their true selves too. That again, nothing is by accident. It is all divinely coordinated. But it's just a question of, are we listening? Are we listening to our gut instincts, our intuition? Are we seeing the significance behind meeting that person, or having that conversation, or finding this video? You see? There's always a significance to it, that our reality is far more malleable than we realize. So I realize we're getting off on a bit of a tangent here, but it's been a delicious tangent. But again, in life, when we void the karmic contract, when we see another person for the role that they're playing for us, we free ourselves. We take the onus off them. We don't punish ourselves. We don't try and come after them and punish them. You see? We don't do the same thing that they did to us back to them or to another person, or even to ourselves. We're saving ourselves and other people from that chain of pain. And we are alchemizing that pain, the shame, the unworthiness, the fear, into love, into light, into our purpose. That's the best part. That when we realize what this work is really doing, it's not just helping you break a karmic contract. It's not helping you get over someone. That's the first step, and that's very important. But then when you move into the next stage, you realize, OMG, this actually has brought me into the true essence of who I am. This woke me up. This brought me to my purpose. That painful experience, that triggering, crappy person, has actually made me who I am today. And I'm so thankful for what they did to me, because now I stand before you. Yes, I'm speaking from my own experience now. I stand before you with this confidence, with this truth that I have lived, and that this resonates with you because you are going through the same thing, and you are going to offer this to somebody else. You see, we are all walking each other home. We are all assisting each other in the awakening of who we are and why we're here. Okay, T, I'm going to leave it at that. Thanks for listening. Bye.